Hi guys, it's Blair here and I'm here to do my June wrap up for June 2013. I have a few library books that have already gone back to the library, so I thought I'm going to give you the rating and my thoughts on those books first, and then I'll move on to the physical books that I already do have and that I have read of my own collection. Okay, so one of the first library books that is on my list is Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol. I'm sorry if you can hear Penny in the background. I gave this a 5 stars. I think that this book has been around the blogosphere for a while and everyone that I know of knows what this book is about, but for those who don't, it's about a girl who gets trapped down a well with a ghost and what happens after that. And this book was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I read it when I got sick and I read it during the night, and it was kind of a really great distraction from the pain and just the yuckiness of being sick. It had the right elements to make a fantastic story. It was very humorous, very dark, intense in parts, and a little bit spooky, but overall I think it had a great message and I really liked the ending. The next 3 books that I read were part of a middle grade graphic novel series that I have reviewed as well on my Goodreads. And this series is called the Chicagoland Detective Agency, and I read the first book, which is The Drained Brains Capers, the second book, which is The Maltese Mummy, and the third, which is The Night of the Living Dogs, all by Trina Robbins. And these are really fun, very quick, fast-paced and quirky reads. They're about, I guess you could say young adults, but they're more pre-teens, as one of them's 11 and the other one's 13. And they come together in a strange way, and the main characters, Raph and Megan, come together, and they kind of, first of all, solve this sort of mystery about what's happening at the school that she goes to. Things seem a little bit suspicious and everything's going a little bit crazy, and then they find out what's happening, and after that they adopt a new family member and friend, and it kind of just progresses from there. And each story is kind of has a fantastical element to it, but it also has a realistic element. And the first 2 books focus on one main villain, but the third book focuses on a completely refreshing villain, and I think that was probably needed because I kind of like different villains in books like that. But I would definitely recommend it for young readers, old readers, it doesn't matter. And if you have children, I definitely would probably press these on your children if they enjoy kind of the fantasy, kind of cartoonish style of graphic novel as well. It reminds me of the cartoons I used to watch when I was young. So I really like that style of graphic art, and I think I gave all of those 4 stars out of 5 because I really did enjoy them quite intensely. I wouldn't go as far to say as I'd want them for my own collection. I think they're books that I could definitely read again, but because I've already read them, they could probably lose their value after the first reading for me. But if I was a kid, I can definitely see myself rereading those over and over again. The 4th library book that I got, and I believe it's the final one for this month, and I have some more I need to read too, is Raven Girl by Audrey Neffenegger. And I had this a little bit discussed around the blogosphere and YouTube, and it sounded really intriguing. I read a adult graphic novel or illustrated book by her before, and I really enjoyed it. It was very dark and suited towards adults, and I really think this one could kind of verge on being older young adults and adults, but it really has a great message. I think because of the darker elements to it, I would probably suggest that. But if you're already reading books like that, then definitely go ahead and try it out. It's definitely worth the read. It was really beautiful. The illustrations were very different. The concept was fantastic. And I really believe the execution was fantastic as well. It told a beautiful story of transformation and belief in yourself and not stopping at, no cost to really be the person that you want to be and know that you can be. And also about family love and friendship and just human compassion and things like that. And it was a really, really rich book, and I really enjoyed it. And then we move on to the physical copies of the books that I have and own. The last book I read in June, sorry, I'm a bit chesty. The last book that I completed in June is Born Wicked by Jessica Spotswood, and I already did a review of this that you can find on my channel. I gave this 5 stars. I keep looking at it again. I want to reread it so badly right now, and I only just finished it. I absolutely adored this book. There's nothing much I really want to say about it, other than if you love witches, historical fiction, and you want to read something sort of, it's not exactly fast-paced per se. It's very, I wouldn't say slow, but it's very engaging, and I just love it. I really do. And I love the cover so much, and I just had a fantastic time reading this. And I'm so glad I took my time to read this book because it's one of my favourites. And in no order again, I finished off specials at the start of the month, so I believe I was reading this in May, late May, I can't remember, but I did finish it, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. It was a fantastic ending to the trilogy per se, and I'm going to say that's the ending to the trilogy. I do know that extras comes after it, but for me it was a fantastic wrap up. It left me feeling a little bit anticlimactic, and I discussed this with my partner as well, and he said the same thing. There's a certain scene that kind of really cuts through you, and then after that shit just gets a little bit slow, but the wrap up is really good. I cried during this book so hardcore when a certain scene happened, and I just was so absorbed with the series. And this book is one of, I think it's actually, it's not my favourite book in the series, because I believe that I love Pretties a little bit more than Specials, but it definitely kicks past Pretties, because Pretties was a little bit slow for me. But overall, I absolutely adored this series. I cannot wait to read extras and finish that off. And I did a bit of a reread of one of my favourite writing books, Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, and this kind of took over my life for a few days or a week or however long it took to read. I kept trying to pick up my fiction books, and I was just like, no, I really feel like some non-fiction. I feel like writing books. I feel like just reading some of my favourite authors, and she just is very inspirational. And I've done a review on my Goodreads. I believe I read this book last year or the year before, I can't quite remember. But if you are into writing, and it's not a how-to book, it's just about her life and what she's learned, and you can apply the techniques or tips or experiences to your own writing. It's very, I guess it's kind of like a memoir, really, and she's just funny and really gets to the bottom of what life's about. She's kind of no bullshit either, which I love. Like, she doesn't sort of sugarcoat shit. She says how it is in the writing world and what it's like to be a writer and what it's like to try and get published or not be published, but she really just hones in on the quality of being immersed in writing and what it's like to have that kind of passion. And I really love this book, and I will definitely be giving it a reread because I just adore it. And lastly, I read Janet Ivanovich's Wicked Business, which is book 2 in the Wicked series, and I believe I gave this 3 stars. Yeah, I love Janet Ivanovich, and I can't say honestly that she's my favourite writer, because I used to say that a lot, but I've only read 3 of her books. And I really did enjoy the Stephanie Plum books that I did read. And I did enjoy Wicked Appetite as well. But this series is really lacking for me. I do enjoy it because it's humorous. It is very fast-paced because it's dialogue heavy. And there are times when I laugh, there are times when I just sort of want to throw the book. and there's times when I'm absolutely bored shitless and I really just don't really want to keep reading. But overall, I think that if you are in the mood for something really light, that has a fantasy element to it, that has a kind of supernatural element, characters, romance, couple of animals that are quirky as well, then you're definitely going to enjoy it. It's not a book that I pick up and go, okay, I really want an intense, fueling ride here. It's a book that I picked up when I really needed comedic relief from all the intensity that I've been reading, and it definitely just hit the spot, to be honest. So for that, I gave it 3 stars, but it definitely isn't